possibly the final workshop Wednesday from this workshop anyway, of the Feck Hall barn. And you can see lots of packing material and stuff that's got to be chucked because it can't go where we're going. Garden things, hacksaws, fire extinguisher, very important, vital in my opinion when you're running gas powered live steam locos, is a gas monitor. And in conjunction with that, go buy a plan for some oversprung points, centre oversprung. Going in conjunction with the gas monitor, I have a CO2 alarm as well, and I don't know quite why I've got a max min, probably to make sure that, just to know really, a clock that's stopped, which means it's right twice a day. And then my remaining motive power fleet, there's Schönes Pferd there, Fraudoil there, Baskerville here, and go through 180 degrees. We have Judy and Eleanor Louise. Eleanor Louise has been a shelf queen for a while, but with the railway now being quite a lot flatter than it was, she's useful at pulling a couple of wagons and nice to look at. Various things. So all the locos that are packed up have their remote controls packed up with them. Steam oil at the bottom. Tool chest, fortunately I don't have to pack. I can just lock it and that will go as it is. And then this is the next thing to pack. It's just having a bit of a mend before I put it in a box. So today's workshop Wednesday, how I make 16mm scale corrugated iron. So I start off with an empty and washed out, I think this was canned tomatoes, would have been beans, no, probably soup because I can't stand baked beans, so we're Nork and Louise. So that's a can. Obviously you're taking the top off to get its contents out in the kitchen. At the moment it still has its bottom on. So here's one that definitely was for tinned chopped tomatoes because it's got a plastic inside, and I've taken the bottom off. So that's what immortal words of Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier. So how do I turn this into the product that I've used for workshops? Those are some unweathered and untrimmed sheets waiting to be attached to an next part. There's a couple of other bits and pieces in here, a coupling hook, a last vehicle sign, and a random piece of brass rod. It's a useful coupling hook as well. It's an Acicraft one. Right, so this is how I do it. That's the one I've already done. Here we have that, I don't know, very standard old-fashioned tin opener. The bottoms obviously aren't designed to accept a tin opener, but with a little bit of brute force ignorance and gentle persuasion, they can be made to work. This one doesn't look like it wants to. Maybe it will be a side cutter, this one. We'll find out in a moment. That's looking promising. Not brilliant, but promising. Of course, I'm on camera, so this is bound to go wrong, isn't it? That's not going to work. So for the really stubborn ones, loads of vibration. That's me getting my own back on the rest of this neighbourhood that seems to be intent on using power tools every single day of the week. usually angle grinders, so that's my revenge. Not kind really, is it? So the rest of this process happens outside. That, as you can see, has got a really nasty sharp edge on it. That won't be there in a minute. Part 2 is really subtle. Squeeze the cans to an oval in the workshop by hand, and then this next bit, just to flatten them out, makes them easier to cut, I do with a power of a size 11.5 foot, wearing slippers. A very satisfying thing, this. And then out comes, I think, the biggest tool I have in the model railway workshop. Not quite as big as some of the stuff I've got in the motorbike, bike and car side. And this guillotine will get rid of all the nasty sharp edges, so I'm going to use it the other way around actually, then you can see the way it trims off. Tight, tight, tight. So it really ought to go through this like a hot knife through melted butter, and because the corrugations are there, I can line it up quite nicely. This will be bolted down in the new place. Look at that. And all the nasty bits. All the sharp edges. Reconciled to the metal recycling. Left a bit of a tang on it, which I don't like, so I'm just going to turn it over and take one more pass at that. Yeah, that'll do. Doesn't like this particular tin. I've got anything up to 1.5 mil thick, which is very useful. And there you have it. Just chop the end off so I can open it out. Sometimes I'll keep the end bit that I've cut off here. It's useful for corners, patching up roofs, whatever you like. Take out the guillotine, take out the bits of metal that are going to be part of the modelling, and bring them back in. And there I have it, 2 little corner bits. I'll hammer these flat when I know what I'm going to use them for. And 2 more longish bits, battered, but perfect. Now the way I weather these, I think I've shown it in a previous video, is to heat them to red hot with a blowtorch, and then let them sit outside and weather. Thank you for watching Workshop Wednesday.